Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of my good friends around the for watching the experiment. And I'm your host, Joe Soro. And you've noticed that I've been doing some impromptu shows, and a lot of times you you get that feeling that you gotta bring something at the right time. Everything's about timing in life. A lot of people don't talk about it enough. Timing is everything. Tonight, the timing was we just swept, and I say we as in the Dodger fans, Dodgers in general, right? We just swept the Cincinnati Reds. It's the end of August, and this is the first team to sweep the Cincinnati Reds. And I figured, you know what? I think I'm going to make a couple calls, see who's going to want to roll through and talk some Dodger baseball. Because right now, within a few days, right? Because the last time I did the show, it was not depressing, but it was kind of like a rave review of this team of the 2025 Dodgers. And I went back and I listened to the show, and sometimes I'll listen to the show for about 2 seconds and turn it off. I start hearing my voice and I'm like, Jesus, horrible. Just absolutely horrible. Turn it off, don't listen to it. Think of the next show, right? And then there are times like the other day where I was listening and I listened all the way. And I think I said the P word like 20 times. And it sounded obnoxious. And then I thought initially, I said, man, I shouldn't have said it that many times, blah, blah, blah. But then something dawned on me. Sometimes the obnoxiousness or the direct obnoxiousness is warranted. And even if we looked at this from years from now, people who don't know who I was talking about find out what I said about them in this particular time. I feel pretty comfortable in going back and saying, no, that's how I felt at the time. I think you guys are playing like a bunch of you know what's. And all of a sudden, as soon as the announcement happens, I start hearing about how Dave Roberts had a talk, whatever that means, with the team. And essentially, what was said is that he said, you all got to get your act together. And since that talk, the Dodgers have won 4 in a row. And they didn't just win 4 in a row. They've pretty much, other than maybe in a few of the games, didn't start out scoring runs as much, still pretty much ended those games in dominant fashion. And while we know the baseball season is an ebb and flow, this was supposed to be a different team. And I'm going to keep hanging on that. And whether they win or lose at all this year, it's still going to be the theme of the 2025 LA Dodgers. This team was supposed to be the best team, one of the best teams ever. It has nothing to do with the 2025 MLB season. This team was and should be one of the best. And I've mentioned the 27 Yankees. I've mentioned the 96. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep saying 96. 98 Yankees. Yankees won in 96 too, but I guess my head's been in the 96 area a lot this last few weeks because that's the year I graduated high school, and we were talking about the 30-year reunion next year for us. So anyways, 98 Yankees, 27 Yankees. Probably the most well-known all-time great teams. There have been some great teams too. The three-peat teams in the 70s with the Oakland A's. You had the Red Machine with the back-to-back titles in the 70s as well with the Cincinnati Reds and Pete Rose and all those guys. So you've had some of those teams. You had some of those iconic teams, iconic years of those teams. And last year, you could sort of put the Dodgers in there as one of the best teams to win a championship, but not really. This year, what I was expecting is at least high singles in the hundreds, like 106, 107, 108, and a championship dominant run. That's what I was expecting. And whether that it's not likely going to be in that area, but if the Dodgers go on a crazy run and get into the high 90s, it would be an accomplishment to finish off the season here in 2025. And the next month's coming on Monday. So they'll have a month to continue to do what they're doing here. They're going to be off tomorrow, which helps. Freddie Freeman, I didn't find out until just a few moments ago that Freddie Freeman had a little nerve issue with his neck that's sort of been acting up, and that makes this win today even better because he gets to rest today, and they were winning in pretty dominant fashion today. And then, of course, they're off tomorrow before they face the Arizona Diamondbacks for a 3-game tilt at the Chavez at the Ravine. And it's nice to win, man. Again, winning is something that just never. It's something that I would say I'm addicted to. We were just talking about it on playback. You know, some of my guys are addicted to coffee. Some guys are addicted to tea. Some guys are addicted to, I don't know, certain foods during the day, whatever. I'm addicted to winning. That's what I'm addicted to. And when you win and you're supposed to win, it's even better. When you win and you're not supposed to win, there is a euphoria there that maybe lasts a little longer. But when you're supposed to win, the little winning here and there doesn't ever really set in all the way until you win it all. We're spoiled here, guys. I'm not gonna front. I am spoiled. I mean, let's just talk about the 21st century. Forget about everything before the 21st century. As a Steeler, Laker, Dodger fan, the 21st century has been absolutely very, very kind to me. Very kind to me. I've had the privilege of watching 6 NBA championships. I've had the privilege of watching 2 Super Bowl wins. And of course, I've been able to see the Dodgers win 2 World Series. So if nothing ever happens again, and I'm sitting in my deathbed in the next, let's say, 30, 40 years, and they're like, hey, Joe, what was one of your best memories besides obviously the family and those things? I'd be like, look, man, I saw all my teams win championships, and they won it multiple times as of right now. So anything else is gravy, right? So yeah, but again, you gotta think like Tom Brady. You gotta think like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. You know, these guys didn't just win one and say, okay, yeah, I'm satisfied. Because a lot of teams and a lot of people do that. No. They're like, no, I gotta go beat Magic with 5 and get 6 with Michael. I gotta go get 5 with Magic for Kobe. I gotta go get one more than MJ with Tom Brady getting 7. So this is what it is. I wish I had the athleticism and the talent to play those sports and win that way, but I didn't. So I have to be an observer, and that's the only way I can vicariously live through the winning like they do. So with that, I also wanted to give some props to my boy Chrissy Chris with the Drip Show. Chris sent me that right there, and that says Showtime. Showtime. We saw Showtime tonight, baby. We saw Showtime tonight. We saw 9 strikeouts in 5 innings, only 2 hits, and Shohei's first win as a Dodger on the mound. Oh, and he threw in a little bit of a single in there too, because that's just who he is. The greatest ball player on the planet. And I'm not just talking about baseball either. The greatest ball player right now on the planet is Shohei Ohtani, and he showed it today and showed it very, very well. Props to Shohei for his first win in LA. Props to the Dodgers again for just, I guess, fighting through whatever they're fighting through. You got to give the props when the props is due. When the props ain't doing what it's supposed to do, you got to say, hey, what's going on there? Again, this is the LA Dodgers of 2025. It's going to be harsh and it's going to be nice. There's no in between. This team has to win it all for this season to be a success. They have to win it all with the talent, with the depth, with the star power, the lineage. All of it is written right now for this team to win it all. And through all the muck, I still said I'm still going to pick the Dodgers to win it all. And I'm going to stick to it until it doesn't happen. So with that, Empire Jeff will be here shortly. He was one of the guys I called to see if he wanted to come on. We haven't done a show in a while, so I figured tonight would be a good night. And I'll get to your guys' comments as well. We can start talking a little what's next for the Dodgers. Right now, I think everybody's kind of clicking. And injuries to Max Muncy, injuries to Edman, injuries to the Kopex and those guys are starting to come to an end here. So what I'm thinking is we're probably going to start seeing a lot of pretty much the entire group come together here, probably within the next week or two. So it's going to be very exciting when we can depend on a consistent lineup throughout the rest of the year. And that lineup will likely be, if it's the main guys like the Edmonds and the Muncies, that we're going to see those guys continue to hopefully go on to the next path to the playoff run of hopefully another title. So without further ado, my guy, your guy, everyone's guy, Empire Jeff, welcome. We were talking like we always do. What did you think about? I heard that the cheers for Conforto's home run was loud like a Ohtani home run. Like, is that what you heard? I don't know if that was true though.
No, it was pretty loud. What's up, by the way? Thanks for having me. What's up, everybody? I don't know how much of that was sarcastic versus celebratory, but it's funny. So when you're on the internet, it's just anti-Conforto left and right. But I feel like when you go to Dodger games, and you've been to some this season, I feel like the fans in the stadium are rooting him on. Like, I feel like they're trying to get him going. So when he did hit that home run, yeah, they were cheering for him, and he's had a good series. And we see this every once in a while, and not enough for the season. I was joking with you, right? Like, what's going on, Drip Show? I hadn't called him out all year. I've been very patient. And as soon as I lost my patience with him, now he's taken off. Like, it's just crazy. But it's the fans in the stadium root for him. I've been to numerous games this year where he comes up to bat. There's no booing. They're not, you suck. Like, I haven't heard any of that. But you can, I know, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking it, but they're not, they're cheering on their guy. But yeah, it was loud when he hit that home run. And I think that's because there are people who want him to fail, even though he's a Dodger, and I don't understand that. It's one thing to say he sucks, and it's one thing to bash him, which I understand it, but to hope that he continues to suck just so they can be right about he sucks, even though it hurts their own team, doesn't make sense to me, So I'm rooting for him when he's in the lineup because I need him to do well for my team to win, and I'm going to always do that as long as he's playing there. And if he goes over, I don't know who said this, but the 0 for Fordo, like when it's that, then rip him. That's perfectly fine. But I'm not hoping he goes 0 for 4. So yeah, I think the fans in the stands were cheering for him. It was pretty loud, but I do think that almost home run by Shohei opposite field to the warning track was still louder.
He's gotten so close this last week and a half to those warning track shots. I had a talk with Dumbskis, and everybody's a Dumbski when it comes to baseball in general around me, because no one knows baseball, and even out there, we've talked about this. No one really knows baseball, but there's been there's this nonsense with MVP in the NL. I'm like, guys, just stop. I actually said it just like that. I said, will you stop talking? Just stop talking. Oh, well, who's going to win MVP? Is it going to be? I'm like, shut up. Just shut up. Okay, Ohtani won the MVP like 2 months ago. I go, Ohtani's going to end up with 50 home runs, 100 RBIs, and there's a chance he might be one of 2 players in the modern era of baseball that's gonna score 150 runs. The other guy was Jeff Bagwell in 2000. Every other guy is either from the 30s or the 1800s that scored 150 runs, right? The dead ball era guys, right? So I'm like, just shut up, okay? And if you need proof, just watch. And I had a really good feeling he was going to win today. I had a really good feeling. I didn't say it, but I had a really good feeling he was going to win today. And I go, you're going to see how good this guy is and what MVP means. You're going to see this guy win a game and get a hit in this game.
He struck out 9.
He struck out 9.
And how many innings?
5.
How many hits?
He just struck out 19 tonight. Okay, so And again, most of my people are they like to see me go like this, and I enjoyed giving it to them. They know I was going to come with the heat. They knew. But there's it's a 180 contrast from the last show I did. But I was talking about this before you came on, in that I went back and watched that show, and I thought to myself, this is, you can't go back on what you say. I mean, there's certain things you can, like if you're ignorant in something, but we're not ignorant in this. This is not something where we're ignorant in. This team should not have been in this position. And they are in the position, and now they're looking like they're sort of getting out of it. And I had put a comparison, just a weird comparison that popped up in my head in the last show about what the Dodgers would be this year should it work out. I said, it's looking like, it looks like they could be the 0-1 Lakers.
That's a great comparison,
right?
That might be spot on,
right? Because what I had said is, I said that the Lakers at one point were 48-26, which was disgusting at the time, because we all thought they were going to win 70 games the next year. We got Horace Grant, another, the guys learned how to win the year before. Shaq, Kobe was coming into his own. Like I said, this team is going to get close to winning 70. I didn't know if they were going to win 70. I said, it could happen, but they played like kind of like okay, right, for them, and then of course they went on the run, and the rest is history. So I'm gonna keep that feeling there a little bit. I'm gonna roll with that a little bit and see what happens, and then September should tell us, I'd say, in a couple of weeks where they're at.
And what's funny about that comparison is I think a lot of people forget about that year is a guy that was out most of the year, the stress fracture, right? He was basically a shell of himself. He couldn't play. He was playing hurt, and then he goes down, and he comes back, and he's like way better than he was before he went out. And that was Fisher that year. He comes back, and he is a different player than what he was in 2000. And even before he got hurt in 2001, heading into those playoffs. And whether you want to do the cliche, is that Mookie getting healthy again and kind of coming back, or is that Edman, who's been hurt most of the year, coming back, right? But it's that extra oomph and that extra boost of getting a guy back that you didn't have. And if you had him, he wasn't at full capacity, and then going in there and doing what he did. But that 2001 Lakers is a very good comparison, because you had the most dominant force in the game in 2000 in Shaq in his best year, which was Shohei last year, right? And then you come back this year, you got some new pieces. You said you added Horace Grant, you added these guys the Dodgers added this year. So they spent the money. They on paper, this team was ready to go, but unfortunately, all the names on the paper weren't the names that were on the field most of this season. But if they have 90% of those names on paper on the field in October, then I think that 2001 narrative is only going to grow larger, because Joe, if this team becomes a team in October that we thought they were going to be in December, in January, if that team on paper shows up on the field in October, then that 2001 Laker playoff run is very probable for this team. I know we're not, the word if is disgusting, but we kind of have to, because we don't know yet. We can't say when they show up, because we don't know who's coming back for sure, and we don't know what all that time off is going to do. We don't know. But when you look at the guys who have come back, had some games to settle down. I didn't like the 2 walks from Trinan tonight, but I love that last punch out. He struck out 2 last night. He's missing his spots a little bit, but that's going to come with some time. His feel and his timing. That's the whole purpose of rehab starts, right? And by the way, Shohei didn't get any rehab starts. That's a whole other thing. All right. Oh, he got rehab starts against his first rehab start was against the San Diego Padres. Yeah. So people don't understand, like, when it comes to that. So rehab starts, like Roki had to do 2 more. He had 1 more yesterday. He has to do 1 more before can even be considered to be added back, right? So you have them sorting their ways through that. And part of me, this is why, the Dodgers, sometimes they piss me off because you sit back and like, why don't they seem like this is urgent? And then you see things start to happen and you wonder like, did they just know? Every time we think the smarts is running out or they overplayed it this time or they got a little too cute, then they remind us we're on the couch because it's this 4-game winning streak, Joe. And coincidentally, anyone who saw or heard, so I like listening to pregame on the radio more than I like watching it on TV because I feel it's more informative. Mm-hmm. And I like radio in general because it's more informative. Especially they're not as homerish on the radio as the television broadcast is. And when I heard Doc's, someone asked him a question, and he said, what are your thoughts, or where's, did they say worry rate? What is your worry rate going into game 3 after the offense has just not been able to do anything, get anything going in games 1 and 2? And then he got, you hear it get kind of quiet, and you hear the press start to laugh a little bit because I'm assuming Doc's face like said it all. And then he goes, I'll be shocked if we're having this same conversation after this ball game. I'll be shocked. And that right there is like, oh, because Doc is very, he popped off. He was basically like, they're going to bring it today. And the report came out later that they had a meeting. They talked about it, but that was him making it public that he was saying that kind of for a reason. So he put pressure on the team as well. And they came out there and they got off to a slow start, and then they brought it, and they have not looked back since. So part of me is like, are they like, look, just, and I don't know if this is the case, Joe. I have no idea. I'm just saying if they're, I've kind of told you throughout the season, I think their plan is just be there at the end, the regular season. Like let's make sure we have our arms going into October. Let's make sure that we have guys getting rest. Now you see Vesia going to the IL now. You're going to see guys. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone, Freddie get a day off today and then a day off tomorrow. I think you may start to see if they got a 2-game lead. I think they're going to kind of pepper guys in and out of there to kind of give them. But the bullpen, Joe, the bullpen is finally getting some rest. And when that bullpen gets the rest and the starters can go 6, sometimes 7, that alone, the bat's not feeling the pressure. So part of me that in my Dodgers, thinking the Dodgers think is like, look, our trade deadline is the IL. Every time we pull a guy off the IL, that's a trade. That's a trade move. And I think that's how they're looking at it. And it's got to work because you're absolutely right. If it doesn't work, then season is an absolute failure for this year, for this team. They won the World Series. They went and spent a bunch of money, added more depth, added more killer pieces. Yeah, it would be absolute failure if they don't succeed this year. But I'm curious, what do you think, Joe, like that they're been content with this the entire time and they don't necessarily love losing baseball games, but they're committed and believe in the guys they have and believe that they're coming back. And when they do, they're going to do what they do?
I think if the team wins it all and there's a DVD commentary, they'll say those things. Hey, we hit rock bottom, but then we sucked it up and blah, 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 blah. I'm looking at it from a different perspective. I'm looking at it as you just had, in my view, one of the most impressive runs in the playoffs last year. You punked back the Padres, and you didn't just punk them back. You 10-0'd them the last 2 games. You whooped their ass in their house and your house. So I'm like, all right, cool.
24 straight scoreless innings too.
Right? And then I go, oh, because I heard it how many times from John Smoltz? Jesus Christ. I thought he played for the Mets for a minute.
The hottest team
This is the hottest team since June. This is the hottest team since June. This is hot. You whooped the shit out of them in all 4 games. And even the losses helped you. That last loss gave Freddie 3 extra days to get right. And then that produced one of the
We talked about that at the time. We talked about it at the time.
Yes, we did. It's on tape.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw one of the most dominating performances in a baseball game series. Like, that shit doesn't happen in baseball because star players only have one at bat every 9 times. A Paul Skeens only can do so much every 5th game. You could say he's the number 1 player in Pittsburgh, right? It's Paul Skeens, right? He's the number 1 guy, right? But he can only use him every 5th day.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that that man obliterated one team almost on his own. I think the last time I saw a player that I can remember, I'm sure there's been other guys, Freeze in St. Louis against Texas. That one, we can go with that one too. But I just thought there's two memories of absolute just disgusting dominance. Barry Bonds in the 2002 World Series. And then, of course, Freddie Freeman last year. You had New York fans putting signs up, "Please, Freddie, stop," or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So for us, for me, is I think we got so spoiled in our life as Laker fans, and I know this is, and then I got a little bit spoiled too because I had the chance to see the Steelers, and even though it wasn't the Steel Curtain Steelers, I saw players like Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, Ryan Clark, James Ferrier, Aaron Smith, Big Snack Casey. Like, I saw these guys own people for years, and I'm so used to that dominance, and they won on top of it. I've been wanting the Dodgers to, like, that Houston series. You've got the text. I'm sure you can go back and see it. That Houston series that morning, like, I got up and I'm like, these guys better just lay the wood on them. And then when they didn't, I feel like that set them down a path that's been shitty for the last month.
That's why I kept saying I feel like that was the worst loss of the year.
It was
the worst loss of the year.
It was at home and it's Houston. I'm like, dude, you got to bury these guys. And what you're going to do is you're going to send a message. Mm-hmm. And this is my issue with Roberts, with the team, with it could be baseball. I don't know. I'm going to go with the people that are responsible because I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lose those games. I don't care if it's in July. It sets a tone. And it did. It did set a tone. And they were shitty for a month because of it. I don't want them to ever be weak. You don't have to win every game. You're going to run into a problem. Common sense has to play into this too, okay? However, with all that, if the Dodgers go on a run here and win it all, then at that point, the common sense meter comes back to them even next year and say, all right, well, these guys want to do what they did last year. They just won back-to-back championships. So I'm going to sit here and shut the hell up. That's that. And I'm on record to say, I'm not expecting them to three-peat.
Yeah, it's tough.
You cannot expect any team. I don't care if it's
baseball. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, you can't. No, I said no.
Yeah, that's.
But this team has to repeat.
Repeat, yeah.
That's where all the, I guess, the energy is at. That's fair.
And I kind of double down on that. Going into that Houston series, the Dodgers were also on a 4-game winning streak. So they keep talking about this. The first time they've won 4 in a row since July 3rd. So. You know what? July 3rd was the game before the Houston series. And so they were playing great baseball. Everything was going their way. And then it completely fell apart. And then that's why when they came out of that series, Joe, when they swept the Padres, I kept saying, I'm not going to get overhyped over this series because we just got swept by the Angels. And then they come out of there and they got to fight for their lives just to split in Colorado, right? And then they go and they lose the first 2 to San Diego. In hindsight, they should have swept that series in San Diego because San Diego did not. Game 2, we got away from them in a stretch there. But game 1, they should have won. Game 2, they should have been able to hold them down more. And in game 3, they finally snapped out of it. Like, there's a reason they beat them 9 out of 13 games this season. They're better than them, and especially head to head. They're better than them. Now, it doesn't change the fact that the Dodgers on the road, as you said, have not been great, and they have had struggles with playing down to their competition. So, which is why I feel that sweeping a team that no one in Major League Baseball has swept all year, even though it's the Reds, they're the only team that ever gets swept in the season. Now that's no more, and the Dodgers did it, and they did it to their best pitcher, and you could argue that their 3 best pitchers didn't pitch in this series. Talk about the Dodgers, because the 3 best are going up against the Lizards this weekend, and they have to bare minimum take 2 or 3 of that series. I believe San Diego is going to Minnesota, so they're going to be on the road again. They're on a road trip. So the Dodgers have a real chance here to get some separation. And if they have some separation, that allows them to not use guys, but to not have to over leverage guys. If you get to a place where you got a 3-4 game lead plus the tiebreaker, then you can make sure you're not going to the well too often on certain things. And that's kind of where they are at right now. And then New York, the Mets swept Philly. So now we're the 2 seed. And now I haven't looked how far we're back in Milwaukee. I know they had a pretty decent sized lead, but
it was, I think, 6.5 now.
Okay, so that is a massive number at this point of the season. Plus, they own the tiebreaker because they swept us twice. Mm-hmm. But Joe, as crazy as this sounds, with how this team has played, I had been saying all season that I felt they were going to be damn near unbeatable in August. I'd said that numerous times. I was completely wrong by that, but maybe I had it off by a month. And maybe September is going to be the month they go ballistic. And if they do, you had I think Milwaukee had lost 4 of 6 in a stretch. They've got some tough games coming up. If you can go into the final couple of weeks with the Dodgers being within 2 or 3 games of them, who knows? But if the Dodgers have to go ballistic in September, because one thing we did say, Joe, when you said about how they sucked for a month and how that game against Houston, why it matters so much, because it kind of took the wind out of their sail. What I noticed after that is teams did not fear the Dodgers. They didn't fear them. Early in the season, you could see it. Teams would be up 3 or 4 runs and like, uh-oh, when's it coming? Where's it coming from? Where's it coming from, and when is it coming? Because they're coming. Now, since Sunday, this team has started to feel like the team that started the season. They'd give up a run early. It'd be 1-0, 2-0, and all of a sudden be 8-2 Dodgers. You remember, Joe, in the beginning of the season, I kept telling you they're going to win. They're going to win. I don't even look at this 3-run deficit as a threat right now. They're going to win, Joe. They're going to win. Like, you can just feel it in the air. They're going to win. I haven't had that feeling for a while. And for some reason, I didn't start getting the feeling on Sunday. It didn't come right away with that Padre win, because I needed to see how they dealt with game 1 versus Cincinnati. But by game 2, by yesterday, I'm starting to get the feeling again. Oh, they got this. They got this game. They got this game. And then today, Kershaw gave up the home run, and I'm like, they're going to get it back next inning, and they score 4. And I can feel it in the air again. And this next series is important, though, because if they go in and what's up, Dante? What's going on, guy? If they wet the bed this next series, then it's a different conversation. But if they sweep or they win 2 of 3 and they're competitive as hell in the game that they lose, then, Joe, we may be looking at a monstrous September from this team, because the schedule is going to be favorable. They catch fire, they could scorch.
Well, they're playing Pittsburgh, who's Pittsburgh. They're playing Baltimore, and they're Baltimore.
On the road.
On the road, yeah. Which hasn't been a good place for them. But let's say
2 or 3 each.
2 or 3 the next 3 series. Yeah. Let's just roll with that for a minute. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now you're looking at 6-3 before you come back home and play Colorado at home. Mm-hmm. Then you got to sweep that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give them a good ass whooping. And then you got to go to San Francisco for a 3-game.
2 of 3.
2 of 3, and then the hard one's going to be Philly. I think the hardest one's going to be Philly, September 15th, 16 and 17 at home. That could be a good.
That could be a good test at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like the Phillies always seem to have something for the Dodgers.
They
much
do.
like how the Mets have something for the Phillies, right?
Yeah. But real quick, let's tally this real quick. You said 6-3 coming out of the
coming out of the Arizona, Pittsburgh, Baltimore series, which is the next
6-3, and then we're saying a sweep of the Rockies, so that's 9-3.
9-3.
Then it's Giants.
So let's do 2 out of 3, which is 11.
It should be 11-4.
4.
Mm-hmm. And then we go into Philly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now what do we do?
So if we're going in 11 and we said 11-4.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going in 11-4, then I'm thinking that team is playing that good at baseball. That means our arms and bats are doing their thing. Then as long as we win that series, because you said Philly's kind of been a thorn in our side, if we win that series and we come out 13-5 in that stretch, then we're golden.
Yeah.
So that to me, that's the barometer, because I think these are all reasonable series expectations. Because we should sweep Pittsburgh and why do I keep forgetting the other Baltimore? We should sweep those. Technically, we should sweep every team, but that's not baseball. We are better than every single team getting up to Philly. I think we're better than Philly, but what I'm saying is predicting a sweep over Philly is a lot tougher. But on paper, there's no reason why the Dodgers won't be favored in every single, and correct me if I'm wrong, they will be favored in every one of these games leading up to Philly. And they'll probably be favored in most of the Philly series because it's home.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a very, very reasonable. We're giving them 5 hiccups in that stretch. So 13-5 by the end. And what you said, that's September 17th, that series ends?
Yep.
So
they would be 11-4, and then Philly would, if you win this series, you'd be 13-5.
13-5, yeah. That over the next 18 games, 13-5. We're giving them 5 hiccups in this stretch.
But they're playing.
So that should be the worst.
The problem with that is they're going to be playing every day from the 12th through the 24th. 20. Holy shit! Wait, hold on. They're going to play every game from the 12th through the 28th.
So 16 straight days.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough stretch. So but the roster is going to expand. So you're going to have, your hope is you have a couple blowouts in there, get some guys out. If you do lose, then maybe it's a blowout. You get guys out. But yeah, that's a rough stretch. But that's outside of what we're talking about right now. That's at the back 9 of the 18 games that we're talking about right now.
That's a pretty shitty schedule, isn't it? How the hell do you give a team that kind of schedule?
How many are at home though? How many are at home? That's 16 straight games. How many of those are at home? It's 3 against Philly, right?
15 of them are on the road. Half of it. It's half and half.
Wait, 15. It's 16.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about from the 12th all the way down.
Yeah. With a stretch where there's 16 straight days.
Pretty much the same. It's 7, and actually they're more on the road. It's 7 and 9. They're on the road 9 out of those.
So it's 3 game series.
Yeah.
And it's Frisco.
3 in Frisco. 3 in Frisco. They come back 3 Philly, 4 Frisco. Then they finish the year, the last 6 games, 3 in Arizona, 3 in Seattle.
Oh,
that's
3 and 3. Okay,
that's a brutal.
That's a brutal final 6 because Seattle.
6.
Is Seattle playing for anything? So Seattle is playing for something, and the Diamondbacks think they're our rivals, so they're going to
play their ass off.
Yeah, so they're going to play their ass off, even if they don't say. Those final 6 games are going to be tough,
and it's going to be hot as shit over there.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Those final 6 games are going to be tough. Yeah, that is a holy shit. That is 16 straight games.
16 straight games, and they're going to be in Seattle to finish the season, which means then they're going to come home. God knows what's going to happen by then, right? We have to wait and see. But this is what I'm talking about, Jeff. Is this has to have played? If you're going to do all the analytics, this had to have been in the equation. Like, what are you guys going to do to end? You guys have to win the division, and you have to be in the top 2 now, so that you get that little break.
This leads to the belief that they were preparing for this.
I hope they were. I really do. If they were, and they run the gamut. Look, man, it really has nothing. Like there's a difference between losing hard and losing like a bunch of you know whats.
Yeah.
And I just felt since that Houston series, I just didn't like. I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that even if they weren't doing it on purpose, which they never do.
Well, the players aren't losing on purpose. There's no way that's
no, not at all. But just like how he said, he doubted that they would have an issue in Game 3 on Sunday. That should have happened going into that Houston series. But the water under the, what did they say, under the dam, under the well, whatever. Yeah. At this point, this is going to be I don't remember a 16-game finish like this straight. There may have been, but I don't remember one.
I can't off the top of my head remember one.
Dodgers are going to have to earn it now. What would have been nice is if they had a 7-8 game lead now, then that doesn't hurt as much. But again, it is what it is. Maybe they go into it with a little bit, maybe they go into it hardened going into the end of the year.
There's that, and there's always those guys who play that wild card round that have the advantage, it seems, over the guys that sat, and we don't know how big of a lead they're going to have going into that stretch. If San Diego slips up, maybe they go into the stretch with a 5-6 game lead, and it's not as bad as it seems.
We also need Philly to lose, right? So I know baseball
and potentially Milwaukee and potentially the Cubs, because if any of these guys, well, I don't think the Cubs are going to catch Milwaukee, so no. But Philly, I know this is crazy because 6.5 games is a bear of a number in baseball right now. If the Dodgers play like I know the Dodgers can, and if they hit a hot streak the way they started the season, I'm telling you right now, I think there's a world they can catch Milwaukee. It doesn't make sense mathematically because baseball has taught us that typically that big of a lead at this time of the year is safe, especially with the tiebreaker. I think there's a world where the Dodgers can catch them. Now, there's a very limited window here. In 2 weeks from now, if they have a rough week, 7 to 10 games, then no. But if they sweep this next series and Milwaukee coughs a game or two, I think there's a chance.
I don't think it's a big deal. I'm not worried about Milwaukee. I'm not. I'm worried about Philly.
Well, my thing is, if you get the top record in the in the NL, you're probably going to end up with the best record in Major League Baseball, which means home field throughout the playoffs again. And that was important last year. So I don't know how much it matters to them. And you're right. Maybe it's not that big a deal. All I'm simply saying is I think it's more possible than we probably thought a week ago. Mm-hmm. And if they get it, they get it. They don't, they don't.
If looking at the schedule, I think the only way they have a shot is they have to win. They have to beat the teams that stink. Like they gotta. Arizona's Arizona. I'm gonna say 2 out of 3 this weekend, and it'll make sense. They win hopefully Friday. Glasnow. I know Glasnow has his moments, but Glasnow's Glasnow. I don't know where he is right now. So you win the Snell game, you win the Yamamoto game, you win 2 out of 3 against Arizona. You can kind of keep your head up a little bit on that. But you gotta sweep Pittsburgh, and you gotta sweep Baltimore. Not only because it's them, but because you have shown mediocrity on the road. And what better way to bust out of that than to go in all the way to the East Coast and win both those series in a sweep? That changes the dynamic of everything at that point. I think if they are able to do that, then the psyche there is great. And the other good thing about that particular series with Pittsburgh is they're not going to see Skeens. They're not going to see Skeens. You have to take advantage of that. And that right there, I think now that I'm thinking about it, if they can get through those 2 series with a sweep, then it's very likely they can build that lead to a 4 or 5 game, which would be a 5 or 6 game lead because of the tiebreaker.
And the tiebreaker,
yeah. If they can get out of those series up 5 or 6,
they'll be the boogeyman again.
Then they can go, okay. Yeah, I know the Milwaukee thing might be something too that they can go after, but I also think that the Philly thing gets down as well. I'm maybe talking myself into this so that I don't think about it. Maybe we just deal with the fact that Milwaukee is going to be the San Antonio Spurs of 01. They're going to be the 1 seed. But when we see them in the playoffs, it's going to be 4 straight with Derek Fisher hitting 15 out of 20 from 3.
And Philly lost their ace. And
Wheeler's gone. Yeah, as soon as I heard Wheeler
that
was
sucks. I hate it, especially how that's a horrible situation. But Philly's lost their ace, and I kind of feel that's kind of not being talked about. That's a very big deal, very big deal. So I think at worst the Dodgers finish second in the National League. I think they win their division. I've never been worried about the division this year. Never. I just haven't felt we're going to lose it. I think when you look at it, our starting pitching is going to be the difference. And I think when you look at the Padres have a dynamite bullpen. Dynamite. We've gotten to it, but they have a dynamite bullpen. But that high leverage, those high leverage dogs and demons that they have mean nothing if you're down 6 because your starters can't control the game for 6 innings, or you're getting your 7th inning guy in the 6th, your 6th inning guy in the 5th. Like if you're using these guys out of their normal rotations, that's when they get touched up. So Estrada, the Dodgers own, and they almost got to Mason Miller. And Mason Miller almost got to last night. So he's nasty, he's filthy, but when the more playoff teams start to see him, the more teams start to face him, eventually, guys, you have to do more. You have to be able to do more. And he's nasty, he's filthy, but there's been plenty of guys who've been nasty and filthy and then got to. So their starting pitching is going to be a problem. And if they go into games down multiple runs, that bullpen won't matter. And I think that's what you're seeing. Seattle went out there ambushing, just chucking them. It was a home run derby in this series. And that's the way to get the Padres. Bomb them. Get their starting pitchers and bomb them. And if you do, you get them out the game and you get that pen in there early, and then you neutralize their high leverage guys, you have a chance to get them. The Giants, we all knew were going to fall off. They did. Like we all knew that team was not good enough. That team was not good enough to keep up the pace of way they started the season. They were beating some very good teams, and it made no sense. Eventually, that was going to fall off, and it did. The Padres, I'm giving endless credit, man. Like they go for it, Joe. And as much as they're a division rival, and we're supposed to hate them and this and that, but I respect the team that goes for it. I respect the team that doesn't just lay down and this team's good, we're not going to spend this year. Like they don't even have their ownership is in shambles. They're damn near bankrupt. They don't have a TV network, and they're still going for it. I respect that. I respect it because they're going for it. I do think that they worry about they're like the Clippers. Clippers worry about the Lakers more than they worry about the other 28 teams. Padres worry about the Dodgers way more than they worry about the other teams. And that's their problem, is they can't see past the big blue monster. And I think because of that, these other teams are going to catch them slipping. And I think the Dodgers will definitely win the division. I don't know about how many games, but it's never been a fear of me this year. And if they do lose the division and San Diego wins it, congrats to them. This isn't me talking trash. It's just me having confidence in my team and their ability to win their division. Now, doesn't guarantee anything, right? Because how many years they've only lost a division once in 13, 14 years, Joe? And they only have 2 championships to show for it in that stretch. So winning the division doesn't mean anything other than you won the division. Home field, but I don't think it's the end of the world if they don't get the top seed, but I think they need to win the division because it's a mentality thing. It really is.
Yeah, the San Diego Padres, my feeling on them is they look like a team that's wanting it, but it's not obsessive want. when they should be. They should be foaming at this point, but they never seem to have that. And I noticed it in 2022 when they were playing Philly in the NLCS. When they beat the Dodgers, I was like, okay.
We did it.
Yeah. I'm like, what? Dude, you guys got to go and win this all. You got to go face the Houston Astros and whoop their ass. Nope. I mean, I was cheering for Philly anyways, just because that's how it works.
I would have been cheering for San Diego if they went to face.
Oh, no. I was saying in the Philly series, I wanted Philly to go because I didn't think San Diego could beat Houston.
Oh, no. But if San Diego was in the World Series against Houston, I would have been rooting for San Diego.
Oh, no. 100%. Absolutely. But I just didn't think San Diego was. I didn't think San Diego was better than the Dodgers that year. It's just the Dodgers.
No.
Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
But I don't. I hate to use the cliched sense of urgency, but they don't feel. I don't feel like they get to that other like death, the death crawl. They don't go to the death crawl to get over. They just kind of like those losses that they had against them this last weekend was like, dude, the Padres weren't even playing well.
They weren't.
Why the hell? Like, dude, punch him in the face. And that was the frustration there. Is if it was like the Angels just raking, or Colorado the other day raking, I go, all right, well, they caught them on a bad day. 2 days in a row, they just whooped their ass. But it wasn't even that. They didn't even want to win.
Yeah,
they didn't even want to win. And those are the frustrating losses. And there's two things that pissed me off in the beginning of the year that I obviously haven't talked about a lot yet because they haven't really been happening, right? Is these 18-1 losses that they were letting happen were pissing
Cubs
me off.
And
then they finally stopped with that stupid ass freaking position player pitching garbage.
Yeah.
And
I think the league made a call on that.
Good. Thank God.
The league made a call on that.
Thank you for saying that because it was driving me nuts, man. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This sets bad habits. It's not about, oh, you got whooped 18-1. It's the fact that you let them score 9 runs.
Yeah.
It does. Everything in baseball is about feeling good. Everything, because these guys play almost every single day for 6 months. Every single day, 6 days a week, they're playing every day. It's about feeling good, and a lot of them don't feel good. When I've explained the steroid thing in baseball, I go, I want you to imagine this for a second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is why baseball is perfect for PEDs. I go, in football, obviously, it would make sense. Strength, size, whatever, right? But a lot of these guys are huge and strong anyways. A lot of these guys don't really need it. That's what football is. I go, imagine this in baseball. Imagine you get up August 2nd. You've already played 4 months, and it's starting to get hot in Arizona. I don't care if things closed out. It's still hot outside. You're going to freaking Miami where it's humid, and they don't have anything. They don't have anything covering over there, right? I don't even know if they have a stadium anymore. So you got all these things going on, and you're just like, man, my body is just falling apart. Now imagine this. Imagine feeling like you felt April 2nd on August 2nd. That's the difference. Feeling good, right? Now you're hitting 15 home runs and 20 home runs in August and in September, Sammy Sosa. And here you are. I remember vividly. I'm like, dude, no one hits 15 home runs and 20 home runs in the last 2 months of the year.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even, I didn't even think about steroids at that point. Like there wasn't really a lot of talk about it. I didn't even think about it. I was just like, wow, things must be changing, naive. So it's about feeling good. And believe it or not, even those instances, you're seeing the ball go this way 9 more times. I don't care who's pitching. I don't care what's going on. It's going to jack you up. It ain't going to feel good. So thank God those things stopped, by the way. We hadn't seen one since we got pissed. And that is what I'm going to get to now. Because just like how you got pissed off finally after 5 months now with Conforto, and I was holding on too. You held on longer than I did. I broke about 3 weeks ago. I'm like, man, as soon as you got pissed, he started hitting. I told you, man, you got to get pissed more. This is the shit that happened.
I was pissed on Saturday night. I didn't even wait to get home to do a video. I did it outside of a party I was at. I was like, I'll be right back. Like we're doing shots at the bar. Like, hold on, I gotta go. I gotta stay consistent. Like I went outside real quick, did my video, and I was like, and I didn't look at anything. I didn't look at the comments. I didn't look at that. I did my video and I went back inside. And the response I got to that video was way different because algorithms find different people. That was no more near rage, but it was way more disappointment that people are used to seeing me. You know, I usually just break down the game. I don't usually get to one way or another with it. I'd had enough though in that one. It wasn't that they lost to the Padres. It wasn't that it was the Padres. I was just tired. This team was not enjoyable to watch. When you see Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, Teo, and these guys up there just going there, just donating strikeouts to charity, and just getting out there and getting owned by Nestor. It was Nestor Cortez. That's what it was. It was Nestor Cortez to me, and the fact that. And I know that Nestor Cortez is nowhere near as bad a pitcher as people for his career. Now, since the World Series and what he was in Milwaukee and the first game in San Diego, I get. But what I'm saying though is the Dodgers should have pulverized him. He should have been so frightened to see Freddie Freeman that everyone else should have been able to kill him. Because just like Freddie killed him because he was so frightened to see Shohei in the World Series. You get what I'm saying? So that was it for me. And I was like, that's it. And I feel like Dave had the same thing. I think Dave was like, that's it. I'm done. Like, that's it. I think he was like, I'm going to give you guys a longer leash. I'm going to give you more room to figure it out. You're all veterans. You're champions. Several of you are multiple-time champions. I'm going to let you, kind of the Phil Jackson thing, I'm going to let you figure it out. 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 I'm going to let you. And I think finally he would say, that's it. Enough. We're getting out of here with the win. Like I'm not getting swept by this team. We're not giving them that. I'm not going to don't make me go push Schilt again. I'm not giving him a sweep. Forget that. I think Dave got pissed and I don't think he does it often. I think Dave's personality is kind of like, I think my way of how I talk sports and break down sports and all that. I think that's maybe why I kind of protect him a little bit more. I think I can see the value in that more than the average person does. He doesn't overreact too much. He's steady. But I'll tell you this. A lot of people don't know what Dave will get on somebody, and Dave will bring someone into his office, and Dave will do things and say things to guys. He just doesn't embarrass them publicly. But I think that it just had enough on Saturday. And coincidentally, that was the day I had enough. And as soon as I said it, Sunday happened. And then I do the video Monday night, literally Monday night, about Conforto because they DFA'd Buddy Kennedy, right? Kike's back. And I'm like, everyone's upset about him, but not Conforto. I'm done with Conforto. It's done. Matter of fact, no, I may have done it Sunday night, whatever, Sunday night. But I did a follow-up video on Monday. So I hit him twice. And I waited all season to do it. And then I do it Sunday, Monday, and he's had his best series of the season these last 3 games. And now I don't know what they're going to do with him. I was convinced that, look, they're going to write it out so Kim, Kike, and all them come back, and then they'll DFA him. But then they're going to be like, look, I got to think, like, if he starts, I don't know, starts hitting, a few hits a series, are they going to start thinking about, or if we DFA this guy and right as he's figured it out, that another team may pick him up, another playoff team may pick him up, and we had him the whole year where he sucked. And what if he goes to another team and hits like 300 for the playoffs? It's something you got to think about now, and it's annoying because all season we've put up with it, but He's had some defensive blunders too. Don't get me wrong, but he's had some incredible defensive plays this year, Joe. He's had several of them. He's saved pitchers so many times this year. It's not enough to save his job in most cases. I just really wonder where their head is at with it. I really wonder where it is, and if he continues to hit, one, good for the Dodgers. That's a good problem to have. But I have no idea now where their head is with it. But I called the team out Saturday, and I called Conforto out Sunday, Monday. The team is now on a 4-game winning streak, and Conforto has had his best series of the season. So it's just crazy how that works. If I would have shut up another week, I would have won a whole season without calling.
Maybe it doesn't happen if you don't open your mouth. That's kind of the point. I don't think there's a lot of pressure in how to handle this, in my view. You keep them until things present themselves. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's say when Edman comes back, when Muncy comes back, when Hae-Sung Kim comes back,
the roster's going to expand.
The rosters are going to expand. Although I know Rushing has done as well as he can. I wish he could hit better, but he's made some impact plays still. And then Freeland is coming into his own. I'm not gonna put too much on him. But the Dodgers do have some moves they can make there. So my issue actually, as much as Conforto was irritating me, I actually was more angry at Teo.
Yeah, I'm too. I am.
Teo was for about 3 days. I was like, what the I was like, move him to left. Move him to left and figure something, put Mookie back at right. And then I opened Pandora's box when I said that, because I've been yelling at other people. I'm like, will you shut the hell up about moving Mookie back to right? I go, stop. First of all, his dad died, his stepdad. It probably messed him up. Have you noticed since he passed last month or so, he's coming back? I'm like,
it's kind of at peace.
Yeah, man. I'm like, dude,
they knew it was coming. Yeah.
I don't understand what's going on. I'm like, he's got family problems at home. Somebody's passing away. Someone passed away. And at the same time, I try to get away from that too. I didn't want to talk about that because I'm not in there. I don't know what's going on, but I'm using common sense. But I'm like, what do you? He's playing baseball. Like, what do you want him to do? How many times does a shortstop get the ball during the game? Like, is he literally getting every ground ball all game out? No. He's a $365 million player. He's a Hall of Famer. This is his job. Shut up. And by the way, he's playing Gold Glove shortstop.
That play last night.
That play was
that was Monday night. That was Monday night.
I squinted.
Monday night,
rewound it.
Monday night.
That's Ozzie Smith. No, I'm sorry. I said Omar Vizquel. That was more Omar. Actually,
that was
Ozzie
Monday
too.
night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa. And the thing is, he got him by like 2 strides.
Yeah. He had time.
So
incredible play.
It was an incredible play, and in my view, that put him in the Gold Glove area. Just seeing that, I was like, no, this guy is.
And he's had a rough season just in general. What happened with his illness, and then the broken foot situation, and he's had a really unlucky season, really unlucky. And then we don't even know for sure how long he was dealing with his stepfather in hospice. This wasn't something that he didn't just drop dead unexpectedly. This was dragged out. So this was probably weighing on him most of the season, and that in and of itself is enough to really, really, really drain you. Then you add the illness, then you add the injury, then you add struggling, right? And you have all this pressure on you, and you have no escape from it because you're going home and doing rehab. You're going home. You can't even hold down water. Like it's bad. And then your stepfather, who's essentially your dad. I think you said since 2nd or 4th grade. I mean, that's a father. You know what I mean? He raised you. And then, being there for your mother and your siblings, and the fact that it never came out. There wasn't feel sorry for me moment. There wasn't a I'm going through this. It wasn't until he had to be, and even when his stepfather passed away, this is how you know the Dodgers. Not a single person leaked it, Joe. Mm-mm. No one knew what happened to Mookie until he addressed it with a microphone in his face. Yeah. Not a single person leaked what happened to him. Not that he was going through this all season. Not that when he was gone for personal reasons, what it was for. It was like, why is he not going back to Boston? He's ducking Boston. No. Like,
he was stuck in Nashville.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, it's so impressive. The NBA, there's no way that could have been kept under wraps. No way. Like, the fact that no one knew, no one that knew said anything. And we found out from Mookie himself. And he never used that as an excuse the entire season. There was no, you don't know what I'm dealing with, or you don't know. There was none of these there was none of that. He showed up and he played. And now he's coming back to life. And look, Mookie's my favorite player, so it's very easy for me to defend him. But I also know Mookie from a standpoint, like, we've watched Mookie enough. The man just doesn't. He's had injuries, that's one thing. But when he's on the field, Joe, when have you ever seen Mookie dog it?
Never.
When have you ever seen him cheat the game?
Never.
He doesn't. So at some point, like Teo's the guy who annoyed me because that sometimes cheats the game. That lack of effort, the laziness, the not running out a fly ball that could have got us a run, not running out a fly ball when he hit the ball when we thought it was going to be out and it wasn't, and then not running after a ball in the outfield, even a ball that maybe he wasn't going to get to. Just didn't like the approach, him assuming he wasn't going to get to it. Like, stuff that Teo has done, I'm right there with you. That frustrates me way more than anything that almost any other Dodger did this season. Because even when Conforto's been bad, it's not for lack of trying. He's still out there playing his ass off on defense. Even when he makes mistakes and makes errors defensively, it's usually it's never for a lack of effort. And I can't really think of anyone on this team. Like, Paz's base running is I don't know what's going on there, but outside of that, he's turned himself into a pretty damn good center fielder, and he's not a center fielder. What Paz has done this year, his base running he's Ray Charles on the base. No, excuse me, he's Helen Keller on the base pads. But everything else, he's done great with this season. Teo's really the only one I can think of that sometimes I think I'm like, where was that extra oomph? Where was that extra push? Where was that extra, even some of his strikeouts, like, even if you made contact with that Teo, what were you doing with it? That's not even a swing, bro. At least, who was it? Was it, I think it was PCA. And I forget what pitcher he was talking about. I think it was Glasnow. Was it Glasnow? I remember he said, like, I didn't even see it. I just swung and I connected.
I remember that
right?
beginning of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Glasnow. And the fact with him is he guessed what pitch was coming and he swung like hell. And if it came, he was going to get it. So Teo's getting fooled, but these little wimpy, like, just bat kind of floating out there thing, guess and miss. Like, that's fine. So he's annoyed me a lot this year. I've always, and this was my thing in the offseason. I talked about this a lot when Teo was a free agent. And I talked about it a lot. I love Teo. I love what he did last year. One, he was in a redemption, make good contract year. Those guys, you got to be careful of giving a long-term deal to. You got to be careful, because when they get that security, are they going to be the same player? Now, Joe, the way he started the season, I was like, oh, man, Teo's better than last year. Him and Edman, remember Edman had like 8 home runs in the first, I'm like, oh, my God.
These two led home runs the first month.
I'm like, these two got paid. They got better. Mm-hmm. Edman's a guy I never question his effort, ever. I don't think Edman's ever going to be. I think it's going to be his injuries. He's kind of injury prone. His injuries are really probably going to be the only thing, and he can go through dry spells. But his effort is never questioned. But the way they started the season, it was arguable because Freddie got off to he built it up over time. He caught fire, but it wasn't in the first few weeks of the season. The first few weeks of the season, were Teo and Edman. And I'm like, oh my God, these dudes are like playing at an MVP level right now. Their numbers were at like an MVP pace to start the year. And then they both went on the IL at the same time, remember? And they both just never been the same since. And so I was like, okay, I don't got to worry about Teo getting paid because he came out and he was phenomenal to start the season. But he has not been the same since he came back from that first IL stint. Just hasn't been the same Teo all year. So I'm right there with you.
What was it? Was it? I can't remember. It's been so long. Was it a groin or a hamstring?
With Teo, it has been a long time. I
can't remember.
I can't remember either. I can't remember his first stint on because he's been on there twice. He's been on there twice. I felt like the second one was the second one a knee?
Yes, I think the second one was a knee.
Yeah, the second one was the knee. The first one, hamstring. I don't remember what it was. Edmonds mostly been ankle,
and he had that issue last year too, right?
Yeah. So I had Freddie
showed the other day that his ankle's 100% now. The way he slid in the second after that stretch out double, right?
Yeah, he had no fear of
And but see, the thing is with Freddie is he plays better when he's hurt.
He locks in more.
Yeah. He's like Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger will get the shit beat out of him by the Ravens for 3 quarters. Finally, he comes out of the pile with his. He literally had his nose this way, right? Like this. And then all of a sudden he goes in a game-winning drive and they win by a field goal. I can't tell you how many times I saw that in 10 years.
Yeah. It's with his. You're right. And you heard the story, right? About how he came out of his slump this year. You heard that story,
Freddie?
Yeah. Did you hear the story? Okay, so you know the whole Coldplay concert and the
oh right.
Yeah. So someone recreated that video with Freddie in the World Series and used like the images of those people as Yankee fans when he hit the home run off of Nestor Cortez. And one of the Dodger players, so it was a meme. It was a make fun of thing of the Yankees with the Coldplay couple. And one of the Dodger players or someone sent it to Freddie. And Freddie, being Freddie, didn't pay attention to anything about the video. He immediately looked at his stance in the World Series and at the time of the year when he was so hot. And he noticed that that the way his stance was during the playoffs when he was on fire wasn't what it was right now. And he went and he worked on it and he got in the case and he got his stance back and his approach, and it unlocked him and it got back to it. So it just goes to show you that no matter how long you do something and how long you've been doing something, sometimes over time, golfers find, in my industry, I'm around a lot of people. I don't play golf myself, but I'm around a lot of people who play golf. And when you hear them talk about their swing and you hear them talk about their angles and all this stuff, and you'll hear like, I didn't realize for the last 2 months, like my swing has changed and my angle, I've been dropping my elbow. So a lot of that is very similar. You'll see it with shooters too in the NBA. Like their form will change, right? So Freddie, who's been in MLB a million years, has how many plate appearances? And he, over time, slid into a different stance, probably because his ankle's feeling better, and he altered it, but it hurt his game. It hurt his game. And if not for that Coldplay situation, Freddie would still be in a slump. That's crazy. Probably. It's crazy, right? That's how he fixed it. And when he told that story, it was wild.
That's a great story, by the way. I had never heard any of that. By the way, it was Teoscar's groin.
So
that first one. He was on pace.
He hasn't been the same since that injury.
He was on pace to, I think I remember after the first month, I was like, man, Teo was on a 120 RBI stint.
Yeah, I mean, 40 home runs. 40 home runs. I was like,
everything he hit was an RBI. I said, he's become an RBI machine. And it wasn't just a week. It wasn't just 2 weeks. It was a whole month and a half.
Then he got hurt.
Just getting everything, and then he got hurt the groin. I don't know what happened. That was a weird thing because I've never been pissed at Teo. Last year,
he's too happy. He's too enjoyable.
And I almost felt like he's like the leader of the crew. Like that's the guy. Kershaw is he's the relic, but Teo is the
he's the joy. He's the energy.
and
he
Kike
brings,
too.
Yeah, Kike, but he brings out something else in Shohei that like him and Shohei, like I feel like Teo's one of the people most responsible for getting Shohei to open up a little bit. Like you saw what you did that Padre fan the other day, right? On Sunday.
Yeah.
Like we've never seen Shohei do something like that. So someone told me, I had said this, this may have been at the end of last season. I said, man, something about the Dodgers, man. It just completely unlocked him and his personality. We get to see how funny he is and how like he's way more opened up than he ever was in Anaheim. And I remember she looked at me and she smiled, and it kind of like a smirk, like what are you laughing at? What are you doing? And she goes, yeah. And I go, what do you mean? Yeah. She was like, no interpreter. Like that interpreter held him back a lot. He goes, she's like, we didn't like dealing with him because, and the person who told me this is Japanese. Okay. And she told me we didn't like dealing with him because he never said exactly what Shohei said.
Oh.
And he never told Shohei stuff exactly what we said. So it was like he was trying to get Shohei against us because he wanted everything to come through him. And then when we would ask a very simple question, he would spin it to be condescending. And when Shohei would answer, he would make it seem more aggressive. And so she's like, so Shohei had a lot of trust in this guy, right? So she was like, Shohei kind of left him to a lot of things. So when he went away, Shohei just said, you know, what am I don't need this wall in front of me anymore. You know what I mean? And he goes, ever since he left, it's a different Shohei. Is because Shohei has let everyone in and he's let himself out. And he goes, that was a massive wall blocking him. And I knew the media didn't like him. I'd already known that because he was very weird with them. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out about him more than already is. He did some really dumb stuff. But I never put that together until that smirk she gave me. Then I asked the question. She wasn't going to tell me. I had to dig, but she gave me the smirk as a signal to ask. And once I did, it kind of started to come out. I never even realized that was what it was. I talked about it. I think last season, because this was last year when I had this conversation with this person, and she was just like, yeah. She was like most of the Angels like beat staff and most of them like. They had no access to Shohei, really none. And she said, you'd be surprised. She goes, you'd be surprised how many people in the Angel organization had no access to him. Like you'd be surprised. And I was like, well, how's it different with the Dodgers? She's like, just all in, like ball boys, clubhouse assistants, like vendor, like anyone that can get to him. Like if they're where security has let them in, if they're in the clubhouse, if anyone comes up to him, like he doesn't shy away from anybody. And it's like that never happened in Anaheim. Never.
That is the first, I'd say, inside information I've heard about his interpreter. Is it Ipe? That was his name, Ipe?
Yeah. And there's more. Like, but I can't. But I can tell you, but I can't. You know. But what I'm saying, what I'm saying is like I never even thought like that. I thought it was like Shohei just being that's why when you heard all the talks and you heard about like, you know, the meetings and how he was going about with his free agency and all this, a lot of it came out to be untrue. Right. So a lot of it. So again, who's relaying this information? You know what I mean? So it was there's no secret that a lot of the misleading stuff that happened in Shohei's free agency, including the flights, including all this, was very misleading, and it never really came from Shohei. You could go back. Drip Show can actually confirm this. You can go back to the day where they said the plane was going to Toronto. I was pushing back so hard on that, and then when that day that they said that Yamamoto was going to the Rams game with Shohei, and I knew that wasn't happening. Like I was all over Twitter shutting that down. Like I already knew. I didn't have anything when it came to Shohei and Roki. I really couldn't get a lot. Yamamoto, I was able to. Yamamoto, Joe, I kid you not. If you go back, it was on my birthday when he signed. If you go hours before that signed, I basically.
No, you had that one.
I had that one. Yeah, and I had that one, and you can confirm this one. I had the Snell one, like on Thanksgiving. Yeah, I had the Snell one. I had the Glass now one.
That one I wasn't. I don't think we were talking.
Yeah, no, but I had the Glass now one. The one I had the Tanner Scott one. I just didn't know it was going to happen that day.
You didn't know it was going to happen. Tanner Scott too, yeah.
I didn't know it was going to happen that day. There have been ones that I had no idea about Conforto. Like I didn't even hear that was even a possibility until it happened. I had no idea about that. What's the other guy that they got? I remember Kirby Yates still being in the thing. I think I said that when they got Tanner Scott. I think Kirby Yates, as crazy as it sounds.
Zero.
I think that's still. I'm hearing that could still happen, and I don't know how or why. To me, it just means like he either really wanted to be a Dodger or he had no offers, and neither one of them really made sense to me because it's like his last contract. So I'm like, I don't know. But that one I kind of heard about. But there were ones. The Shohei one, I just knew a lot of. That was just a feeling more for me, like a feeling for me. But I did get pushback on the Toronto thing. Like I didn't get, like I heard that the Angels were involved a lot more than Toronto was, but that the Angels never really took it to the level. Like they never even really like made the Dodgers sweat on it. Like they never really did it. Like he went back there trying to see what that offer would be, and they never came close to it. So there's people who believe the Giants offered the most money. There's people that like believe that. I don't know if it's true, but there's people that believe the Giants offered the most money for Shohei.
More than 700?
Yeah, they believe that the rumor is that when it comes to a Japanese player, the Giants won't be outbid. That's kind of a narrative, and I don't know how true it is, but something happened with them and Yamamoto because there was a time I thought he was going to the Giants. I would say around the time of the winter meetings, the buzz amongst the media members, and the buzz, I'll probably say from half the executives were that Yamamoto was going to the Giants. There was something. There was a lot of momentum going that way, and then something happened, and some people say the Yankees got involved and drove it up, but the other people believe that Shohei just really, really like got involved. And I guess it was waiting on that. There was this thing with Japanese players where they didn't want to show up the other guy. It wasn't about I don't want to go play with you. It was I don't want to impede on your. Mm-hmm. It was a respect thing, not a hate thing. And I guess once Shohei made the call, like, and gave the blessing, and not just the blessing, but the recruiting, that it changed everything. And a lot of people don't know that's how they got Kim. They got Hassan Kim because of Shohei. And that kind of tilted it. And I did my show 2 nights before Yamamoto signed, and I said, if the Dodgers do 1 million more than Garrett Cole, they have Yamamoto. I'm like, will they? Will they go? Because one, I knew the Yankees would not give him more than Garrett Cole. But two, I wasn't convinced the Dodgers would go that high. But the Yankees number stops at stopped at what, 324.
324.
Yeah, the Yankee number stopped there. So you can go back on my show. I'll go, if the Dodgers get the 325, he's theirs. Now, there's a YouTube shorts clip of me clipping that clip too. And then the next night, breaking, Japanese superstar pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto agrees to the Los Angeles Dodgers on a $325 million deal. And the amount of people who sent me my own screenshot of that night. So I've kind of like, Yamamoto, I had way more. I was able to get more intel on. Shohei, I couldn't get much of anything. It was more of an instinct, more of a feel. Roki's situation was just kind of weird. There was a lot of misinformation kind of coming and going from there. But Yamamoto, I had a pretty good, I got pretty good steady info on that. They never really stopped. That was surprised actually how much info I was able to get out of that. And Glasnow too, because if these guys are kind of linked in there's some breadcrumbs in what I'm saying here. So it's like those guys I was able to get a lot more intel on. But Shohei's just tough, man. Especially at that time when you had his interpreter. It was really tough.
I didn't know it was that bad. I have a hard time feeling like someone that powerful would let an interpreter guide him the way he did.
He trusted him.
He trusted him that much to the point where he maybe not tarnished his rep, but enough to where there's always a snide remark anytime Shohei's on any kind of social media platform. And then you see what's going on in Hawaii now with whatever's going on there. And now there's this negativity around Shohei, right? But again, in the end, it's the bigger you get, the bigger the target, right? I was invested this much in the off season of 2024 or the after 2023. I got invested because I can't even remember where I heard it. I heard something from somewhere about him being on a plane to Toronto. And then I was all in. And I had never been all in free agency for baseball because I know how it goes. It's not like the NBA. It's not like, okay, here's July 1, shit's going to start happening, and then somebody's going to sign, and the big ones usually sign at the beginning, right? First 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Baseball,
usually the biggest one is usually by July 4th.
Man, Bryce Harper the year before was a Snell, waited till freaking I'm not going to sit here getting all excited for this. For all we know, Shohei wasn't going to show up until February or if he signs in February. Right? I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. No. Then I heard those two poor bastards in Toronto, those two sports guys.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. I watch that every now and then. I just go and watch it, right?
The beginning of that show.
They really, they were good. So I heard about the flight to Toronto. First of all, how the fuck do you know he's going in that flight? Like, how do you know? Like, my instincts come through there. Like, how do you know he's on that flight? What? You literally saw him go on the plane? Okay, show me. Go ahead, show me. There's nothing to see. Okay, well, how the hell do you know he's on the plane?
When you hear how that rumor started, this is an off the air conversation. The domino effect of how that rumor started is glorious. It's glorious. That rumor came. No, off air. The way that rumor caught fire was so stupid. It was so stupid. And that's why I never believed it. It's why I never believed that. My whole Twitter thing was like, you guys are tripping. There's no way in hell, brother. There's no way in hell. And that day I just remember, and then the next day we got confirmation because he's like, I can't, this is too much. No, this isn't no. But that was so stupid. That was so stupid. It never came close to happening. It was the Dodgers from day one. It always was. And that got so crazy and so fast. And that's going to be another story. I'll tell you later, but that was just nuts. But they tried it with Yamamoto too. They tried it. They tried like these, I'm telling you, like, now that I think about it, that's kind of linked too. I just connected a dot right now, to a couple of dots right now that didn't cross my mind. It's kind of the same. Damn. I don't want to think out loud. Like something just popped in my head right now.
We'll talk off air. You're messing with the audience too with that because you're teasing them. The Yamamoto thing, my thing is, I didn't know enough about Yamamoto. I didn't know he was the best pitcher, most seasoned, ready major league player, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm going, you're hearing like you said, I heard a little bit more. I heard it was more tedious than how you said it, which is, oh, they don't, because, the media is a bunch of little scumbags, right? They're like, oh, he might get jealous if he's, blah, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Where do you guys come up with this shit? Like, seriously? You guys have any idea this isn't America. This is Japan. They think differently over there. I'm not saying that one or two might not go that way, but that's not how it works over there. I have friends that go to Japan all the time. It's a completely different culture. Anyways, I had no idea, except I started thinking, I'm like, okay, San Francisco really needs a hit. They lost out on Aaron Judge. They lost out on Shohei. And I got a little bit of intel on the Giants organization from friends of mine. And they're probably going to spend the money for the big one, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I could see that. So I'm like, okay, why would he want to go to San Francisco? That was the question I kept asking myself. What's he going to do there? Because I already know Larry. Well, I don't know him personally, but I know who he is through my friends, the owner. I'm like, is he going to want to play for that dink? No. I mean, my friend and him was sitting next to my friend's tight with Barry Bonds, and they were sitting there, his wife and him were all just cracking on him, like no respect, like complete dink. I don't see Stan Kasten or Mark Walters being treated like that in front of people. I'm just saying, I just don't see it or hear about it. Anyways, so I said, all right, San Francisco, he's not going to go there. Then I start thinking about the Yankees. The Yankees, what have we heard the last 5-6 years? Pitching. I got a pitcher. Okay, you got Garrett Cole. You got to go get his second guy, and then you might have a shot. Might have happened too, by the way, Jeff. Imagine if they had gotten him. Would the World Series have been different, right?
And the Dodgers have never beaten the Yankees out on a pitcher. Like they always get outbid.
Exactly. They always get the guy, right? So now I'm like, I'm going to wait to see if the Yankees throw 350.
They were never going to.
I heard 300, right? I'm like, Jesus, 300 million. Are they going to throw 350? And then the Dodgers get them. And I'm just like, wow. Japanese invasion, just like the Mexican invasion in the 80s, just like the black invasion in the 40s and 50s, right? Like the Dodgers are always the trendsetters in there, right? So now we're going to get the Japanese players. Roki, I knew was going to be a Dodger, not because I had any intel. As soon as they didn't sign Buehler, I said Roki's coming. So now here we are. Now, we'll Roki is this year, so I'm talking about the Yamamoto Shohei year. So now you got Yamamoto and you got Shohei. You have $1.2 billion and some change. I'm sitting there going, imagine having Shohei in those. And somebody said this, I can't take credit for it. They said the lapses that Freddie had, that Mookie had, especially in the 2023 playoffs, right? I go, the reason why they were pressing, because every goddamn game they were coming up the bat down 3-0, or worse. They were all pressing, right? I go, that's a real thing. That's a real thing, no matter how great you are. But somebody had mentioned on TV, I don't remember if it was one of the big guys. What's his name?
I'm gonna place you on mute real quick. Gotta take this call real quick.
It's okay. Kirchin or one of those guys that's on MLB, right? I don't know if it was that guy or one of those, passing one of them, but they said you could probably get around Mookie Betts. You could probably get around Freddie Freeman, but it's going to be very, very hard to get around Shohei Ohtani all at once. And I remember that line so vividly because it became true. You watch the first game against San Diego. San Diego gets out in a 3-0 lead, right? And right away, the Dodger fans, myself included, We're sitting here going, oh my God. Oh no, what the hell are we going to do? This is starting again. And a couple innings later, 2 are on. Shohei, it's a 3-run homer. And by the way, Yamamoto started that game too, right? So he had and Yamamoto's always had this issue with starting off slow, right? And that's not really just his issue. A lot of these good pitchers, a lot of these great pitchers kind of need a minute to kind of warm up, right? So Yamamoto, first playoff game, three runs in the first inning, and now you're in that is this happening again situation in LA. But what happens? You get past a few things, and then the second at bat for Shohei, here you go. 2 on, 3-run jack, game tied, and they end up winning that game. Did you hear what I just said?
No, I had to jump. Okay.
on. So I'll give you the cliff notes of it. When I can't remember if it was Passan or Kirchens, one of those guys on MLB that said, by getting Shohei, it's going to be very difficult to get past Mookie, Freeman, and Shohei.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's I remember vividly. I just don't remember who said it. I can't remember who said it. But they said it, and it happened exactly like that in game 1 against San Diego. What happens if Shohei is not there? We probably get swept.
Yeah, we don't win. Everyone talks about how we did later in the playoffs. Game 1, that home run. Yeah.
Yeah, that 3-run jack changed everything.
Yeah, Yamamoto struggled that start.
He did.
That was his only struggle of the playoffs.
Right. Took him a minute to get. I remember I wrote a post, and my buddy being a smartass that he is, I said, Shohei went over to his boy, and he said, "Don't worry, I got you." And then boom, right? And he goes, "Oh." He came back with a response like, "Oh, so you were there and you're there?" I was like, "Yeah, I heard it in Japanese."
There is a video of him in the dugout.
Well, whatever it was, I was joking. Whether it happened or not, I'm sure it would add to the lore, right? But the Dodgers invested $1.2 billion on 2 players, and those 2 players won you a championship.
Yep. Because Shohei, they don't win round 1 without that Shohei bomb in game 1. And they don't win game 5 without Yamamoto out dueling Yu Darvish. And he won his games in both New York series as well. Mm-hmm. Dominant. And yeah, they don't win unless they get those 2 guys. That $1.2 billion. And I say that money can't buy you a championship in the MLB. You can't just go out and spend $1.2 billion and think it's going to come with a championship. You have to spend that money on the right guys. You have to spend the money on the right people. You can't just go out and spend the money and think because you outspend everybody, it's going to lead to a World Series championship, because that's what Steve Cohen's trying to do. He's trying to just spend. Like, there's a reason why the Dodgers like, okay, we're interested in Soto on a short term. He's not a guy we want to lock into our franchise for 15 years. We don't want that. No, 1, it doesn't make financial sense because this guy isn't putting anyone in seats. 2, he's not, he's a one-dimensional guy. So they passed on all these guys. They did the same thing with Bryce Harper. They're like, we'll take you on a short-term deal. Like, they had their guys on a whiteboard or on a list. These are the guys we go after. They didn't pay a Trey Turner. They didn't pay a Corey Seager. They wouldn't go long-term on Bryce Harper. They didn't go after those guys like that. They had Mookie Betts on their radar for a while. They were lurking, waiting for Atlanta to botch the Freddie Freeman situation, and they did. And they had Shohei on their mind for 7 years. And they should have had Shohei a year earlier, and he threw them all off when he took an extra year from Anaheim. He threw everyone off with that. So the Dodgers thought that's why they punted 2023. The Dodgers thought they were going to get Shohei in 2023. And then he went ahead and signed a 1-year extension with the Angels and put a wrench in the plan. And that's why the Dodgers 2023 team, that team overachieved. I understand that they fell flat in the playoffs. That team had almost no business winning the amount of games that they won. And then they fell flat, and then they got Shohei. But they were preparing to get Shohei in the offseason of 2022, 2023. They thought they were going to get him that winter. Then when he opted in that extra year, they're like, oh, we can't spend this year. Like we got they kind of punted. Like you had a kind of like those. That's when you got the Haywards and the Peraltas and those guys. Those were 1 year stopgap punt guys. And they still won that was one of Dave's best years. I understand the playoffs would happen, but talking about that grind of the season, that team that they had, Mookie even said, hey, this isn't one of the most talented. This probably isn't even a top 5 talented team I've ever been on, but this is one of the closest teams I've ever been on. Then they add Shohei and they add Teo and this version of it became who they are. But they thought they were going to get, Shohei in 2023 and they had to wait an extra year. So that kind of threw a wrench like into some things. When they traded for Turner and they did that move, like, oh, cool, we've got him up until we get Shohei. As far as like production, you don't got to pay him big money. As soon as he comes up and getting paid, he's gone. You get Shohei. you get to replace, some of the power, some of the numbers. Obviously, Shohei's better. But what I'm saying is you got him for a certain amount of time to get us to that space. And they've been waiting on Shohei. They would have had Shohei the first time if the DH was in the National League. He would have been a lifelong Dodger. We would have had him his whole career. But there was no DH in the National League. And the second he became able to pick his own team, he picked the Dodgers. And so, but you're right. You spend that money, $1.2 billion. You get Yamamoto. You get Shohei. We don't know what Roki is going to get, but we just know that every team in Major League Baseball wanted him and the Dodgers got him. So I still believe that the pitcher that the whole world wanted is in there. There's a reason why these guys don't come over until they're 25, 26 years old. Coming over at the age that Roki did is a little overwhelming. And maybe he didn't expect that fully. But I think by the time Roki is 25 years old, I think he's going to be a very, very good major league pitcher. He's still very young. Like I said, Henriquez is what, 23? Roki 20. Like you got some of these guys, man. That
Henriquez, you got Dreyer. Man, Dreyer is my favorite pitcher.
Dreyer's nasty and lefty. But so yes, what I'm saying, I think Roki. I think Roki's going to be fine. But my point being is Shohei and Yamamoto. Shohei and Yamamoto couldn't be two different guys. Shohei's very kind of private, reserved, very respectful, quite like Yamamoto's got some flair to him. Like he'll walk around with a supermodel. Like he'll go to party. Like Yamamoto's a little different than Shohei. So you got the two different style of personalities there that can help go and get the top Japanese guys win. And if the Dodgers want them, are going to pay them. So the Murakami stuff is going to be very interesting. The third baseman. So if the Dodgers want the Japanese guy, they got all the guys they need to help recruit, get them. It just comes down to how many Japanese players you're going to want on this team and how much money you're going to spend on these players is what it comes down to. I think the Dodgers will spend on whatever they think the best player is within the budget of what they're going to be spending. I don't think whether they're Japanese or not, but I think when you're two top players, potentially for the next 10 years, if they really want those guys, you want to see it through. If you value those players as high as your players do, whether they're from Japan, whether they're from Cuba, whether they're from Mexico, whether they're from the Dominican, whether they're from Puerto Rico, wherever they are, the Dodgers are going to want to get the best they can get for their money. And the fact that their farm system is still as high rated as it is, even with this major league roster, they still got guys in the pipeline that are going to be coming up that have a chance to be incredible. So,
well, I'm not against having a Japanese heavy team.
I'm not against it either, like I said. But
yeah, I was a observer of the Russian Five. It wasn't the original Russian Five, but the Russian Five in the late '90s on the back-to-back championship team with the Detroit Red Wings when they had Sergei Fedorov and Kozlov and Festivov and Konstantinov. Bob Bowman just said, "Look, give me the Russians."
Yeah.
Everyone was kind of against it at that time, but he's like, give me the Russians. And they ended up winning back-to-back titles. Whatever it takes to win, I don't give a damn what it is. So what the Dodgers are going to do in this offseason isn't something I actually have been thinking about, not even a little bit. This is the first time I've actually thought about it now that you've brought up future signings. I have no idea what they're going to do this offseason. Usually I have an idea. Usually I get an idea of like, okay, well, Shohei's a free agent or this person's going to be available, whatever. But I have been so invested in this season, every game. I have watched every single televised baseball game. And the only one that hasn't been televised is the second game in spring training that wasn't televised. That's it. I've seen every single Dodger game this year. And I want this thing to end with a title. Like I wished it would have ended with a title in 2022 because I'd watched 140 plus games that year. I hadn't watched that many games in my entire life. And I was like, man, this team is 112 wins, 111 wins, whatever it was. And I'm like, this is it. This is the one. And Houston was playing well. I'm like, man, how amazing would it be if we can go meet those guys in the World Series? I still want those guys in the World Series, by the way. I still want to beat those guys.
I would love them. I don't know if they're going to get there. They're starting to fall off a little bit, but yeah.
I'm gonna go back again, and we're gonna be cutting out here in a minute. It comes off very personal when I get insulting. I can hear it. I can hear myself when I do it. But in my mind, I'm not. It's just the manhood is something that maybe I grew up too much with. Maybe I grew up with too much testosterone. And it's not fake. Because a lot of guys get built up like that and end up wilting as they get older. They either marry somebody that trivializes whatever they went through and puts them down, and then they just kind of sink. I didn't grow up like that. I grew up with a lot of love, a lot of support, but there was demands, and a lot of it wasn't spoken either. It just was. So whenever I get into my mode, the initial response is always, oh, there's some kind of insecurity here, and there's this, and there's that. I'm like, no. I'm telling you exactly what I feel about you. You're a pussy. You're a bitch. That's it. There is nothing like behind this. This has nothing to do with me. You're a bitch. You're a pussy. Get your fucking shit together. And I've had that conversation online, face-to-face. I've had that conversation. And the Freudian crew, everybody becomes Sigmund Freud, right? All of a sudden they know psychology. I said, no. And then I have to tell them, you have to hang out with me then, right? I always say the same thing to everybody. Hang out with me for 2 weeks and you'll know how it works. I can be very, very mean. Very mean. Piercing mean. And maybe sometimes I do go back and go, shit, maybe I shouldn't have gone that far. But it came from a place of get your shit together. I'm not going to tell you, hey, after the 8th time. And it's worse too with someone you don't know. It's much better when you know the person, right? Like I don't know Dave Roberts. He might be a psychopath away from the dugout, right? Like I don't know. I said this a few times when I was talking about is Dave Roberts talking to these guys? Like for all we know, he did yell at them in the clubhouse. I don't know, but it doesn't look like it. And I'm just gonna assume because I don't know that he ain't doing shit.
Yep.
Fix this shit. You are the manager. Okay. If analytics and again, I tried to really, really put this in too with this discussion. I said, what do you replace him with? Because is there a great manager anymore? Is a great manager allowed to exist? and I compared it to the NFL running back. What is the NFL running back today? Saquon Barkley had one of the best seasons, at least from popularity. Sorry, I know I'm PTSD on that one. But I said this guy had one of the best seasons that I can remember in years. Maybe Adrian Peterson's MVP year. That was the last time I heard running back. And it was, hey, man, this guy might win MVP. But it didn't happen. Like last 4 weeks, it fell off. Josh Allen won, right? And then you go into this run. They have this run, pardon the pun. And, hey, is he going to be Emmitt Smith in Super Bowl? What was it? Was Super Bowl 26, 27, 28? Where he just ran through Buffalo in the second half. And it didn't happen. Jalen Hurts won MVP. Jalen Hurts was getting the carries and the goal line. Like, it doesn't matter, maybe. It doesn't matter anymore. But, okay. They analyticaled you to death. They analyticaled every manager in Major League Baseball to be this. Fine. But can you put your foot up somebody's ass a little bit more? This is the LA Dodgers, man. This is the champs. And this is not a one-and-done thing. This is not even a 2 or 3-and-done thing. This motherfucking thing has to be 5-6 for the next decade. You didn't pay $1.2 billion to go to the World Series like the fucking Atlanta Braves for 14 years. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, and you lost 3 of them. 4 of them. Sorry, forgot about the Toronto one. You can't do that. They have to win it. I said 4. You got to at least win 4. But you should be winning 5 or 6. I don't know. Maybe I'm greedy. Maybe I'm thinking like the Lakers in the 2000s, right? That's where I'm at on that.
Yeah.
But it's going to come back to me. I know that the shit's out there. My saying fuck you to Jeannie Buss and LeBron and his family and all that shit. Actually, not his family, but just the situation. But it's going to come back to haunt me. And it is what it is. But at the time, I said it in a way because it's a detriment to winning. It's not about, oh, I don't like this guy. My thing with LeBron isn't about that I don't like him. It has nothing to do whether I like him or not. I don't give a fuck. I hated Jeff Kent. Okay? I couldn't stand him. When I heard the Dodgers were signing, I was like, oh, fuck. Really? But I'm not going to not cheer for him, just like the Michael Conforto thing. Like, every time Conforto's at bat, I'm like, please, can you stop swinging at stupid pitches? It's the same feeling every time. Don't swing at stupid pitches. You have a 2-0 count. Don't swing on the third freaking pitch. Let him throw a strike. Let him throw a strike on the second one if you have to. Get it to 3-1. And that's where I go. That's where it is. And that's where we're going to end the night on. Because I know you got to go to bed, right?
Yeah, I got to do something for work real quick.
You stayed later than I thought you would. I was thinking you were going to bow out about 30 minutes ago, but
I was actually waiting on the call, and it came later than it did, so it worked out.
Was it a good call?
Yeah. I had to, they wrapped up business, so I got to do.
I just got a message for someone who wants to buy something right now, so I'm with you. See, we work till late at night, right? So they're like, "Can you deliver to Homeland?" Anyway, so. We don't like to do it at night because that place is a disaster at night. But anyways, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. It was an impromptu, and we've been having a lot of these because I feel like this might kind of juice up some things as things are about to blow up here once the basketball season, football season start. And then, of course, the Dodgers are tailing into the end here. We're going to have a lot more Dodgers shows in the playoffs, and we'll have some production changes here probably within the next few weeks that'll brighten your day up as well. Got some really good stuff coming. But Jeff, thanks for being here tonight. It's been a long time before we had done. It's been a long time since we did a show. I don't want to wait that long again.
Yeah.
A lot of our people like watching us and talking shop. So thank you for being here tonight, everyone. Sports Baby, Mark, Jeremy, Drip Show again. Drip Show. Get his stuff, guys. Look at that shit right there. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, that is the cleanest.
Got one behind me too.
Shit.
I got a Kobe.
I mean, I got that first,
dark.
and then my
Can't
boy
really see
got
it.
us
Dark.
that one.
I think Joe froze. There's no way he's still looking at that picture. The same exact position.
Tell me, did I really go out?
Yeah, you did. Okay, you're back now. There we
Jesus.
go.
I look, the hardest thing for me to find in today's clothing world is a shirt that'll fit my shoulders and not sit here on the bottom. Okay. He even got the clothes right. Look at how it sits on my shoulders. Okay. It snugs it how it's supposed to be. Too much drip. That's a good way to put it. So, Chris, my boy, I'm going to be coming in about 2 months. I'm going to come see you. Halloween. I'm coming for Halloween. I got to come see you. But anyways, thank you all for being here tonight. EJ, until we meet again, we'll be back throughout the week. I'll be doing LFB, all the good stuff. And again, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening. Until next time, we'll see you next time.